Hello, my name is Clay Staires with the Leadership Initiative. We're here with Winning in the Workplace, this training series to help you as a CEO, as a manager in your company. How can I train those workers to be wonderful workers? And how do I then prepare them to step to that next level of being a trainer, being a developer, being a team builder? And then from that team builder, how do I begin to put in the mindset and the skill set so that people are able to move from being trainers into being managers? And then finally, how do I turn a manager into a leader? It's what each of these sessions are about. Again, we're calling it Winning in the Workplace. We've got our different sessions starting with the worker, then coming into the trainer or team builder, stepping into the manager, which is what these sessions are all about, and then finally ending up with the leader in the company. What is the mindset and what is the skill set that we need to have at each of these levels so that we can have A players in our company, so that we can have winners in the workplace, bringing our company to the next level. So I'm excited about getting into today. I really enjoy this. This is something probably this level right here, this manager level, probably more than anything else has changed the way that I lead. Again, when I first started out growing up, I grew up in a leadership family. So I think just kind of waking up, I was a leader. I just had the mindset of a leader. I had vision coming out of my ears. I can remember all the way from even being a young kid, having vision, having a purpose, having a direction of where I wanted to go in life. I just had some natural charisma, some natural ability to draw people to me, and I really enjoyed it. So this was a level leader. I didn't really have a problem there. And next of all, the trainer. I grew up as a teacher. I grew up in a teaching family as well. I was a teacher, a high school teacher and coach for 15 years. I love teaching and developing. So again, just waking up and falling out of bed, I'm a teacher. It's what I do all of the time. So being a trainer and being a leader, those were natural mindsets for me growing up. The problem was I didn't have a very good work ethic and I didn't know how to manage. I didn't know how to organize work and how to delegate work to get it done the way that I wanted to have it done. So as a result, I got trapped like many other entrepreneurs. I got stuck in the trap of doing all the work myself and not knowing how to delegate. Or my idea of delegating was, hey, I need you to go do this. Can you do it? Sure. And they'd go do it and I'd go look and I'd go, this is not at all what I wanted. Simply because I hadn't delegated well, because I didn't know how to manage. And one of the things we're going to talk about today, designing systems. This is going to be key to help you, if you know what I'm talking about, as far as being a leader or as far as being a trainer, but not really knowing how to delegate, not knowing how to turn work over to other people. And as a result, you end up doing all the work. You're like as my coach says, you end up being like this one-man laser show in your company because you have to do everything because, Clay, I'm surrounded by idiots, Well, the whole thing there is if you're surrounded by idiots, you might just want to look around because you just may be the king of the idiots here, okay? So we just want to make sure that we learn how to delegate as a manager, that we learn how to organize the work, and then what we're going to be doing in future sessions, we're going to organize the work, and then we're going to talk about how do we supervise the work, and then how do we evaluate the work to make sure that we are able to turn work over to other people and other people are getting the job done for us rather than us having to do everything. We've talked quite a bit about this organizational chart. Okay, this was huge. This idea here of an accountability. Unfortunately, so many of us as small business owners can find ourselves moving up and down this organizational chart every day. We have to be the ones that actually do the hands-on work with clients or the ones that actually do the service right here for the customers. But at the same time, we have to manage the work of other people. We have to make sure that other people are getting their work done. But at the same time, we also have to find time in our very busy schedule during the week to make sure that we can think big, make sure that we can actually design systems and look for problems and be prepared for problems that are coming 3 months and 6 months and 9 months down the road. And then up here, we also at the same time have to have time in our schedule, the time blocking, where we can think big picture. We can be looking 9 months and even 3 years down the road. So these areas up here at the top, this is where we work on the business. These areas down here is where we primarily work in the business on a daily basis. And what always happens because of the tyranny of the urgents, you probably heard of that before, because of the tyranny of the urgent, we find ourselves every single day being pulled down into the weeds of the company and having to do all of the work here, or we find ourselves at this level running around being a fireman all day. We just have to put out fires, okay? Now again, somebody has to do that. If you're in a place of going, man, I wish fires weren't getting started every day. That's the problem, I have too many fires. It's like, no, fires are gonna happen. Just the fact that these people come to work are going to create fires. When they come to work, they're going to say, where's the pencil? How do I get this done? I've lost this. Who did that? Where did we put this? They're going to come up with fires. I'm trying to use this piece of equipment. It's not working. The printer isn't working. What's going on with the computers? The internet's down. All of these things are going to begin to happen when people come to work. So somebody has to be available, this mid-manager right here, as we've talked about, to run around all day long and put out fires. And so I get this whole idea, but of just being, Clay, I've just got so much going on. I don't have time to work on my business. I just want to tell you that can be a real trap for us unless we are workers, okay? If we have this level of manager responsibilities or leader responsibilities, it is imperative. You have got to begin to block your time out. So this is where we're going to start out today. Again, as far as our whole session is going to be designing systems. We want to start talking about organizing the work. If you're like me, there are a ton of things that need to get done today. There's just a long list of things that need to get done. Your to-do list may be turning into 3, 4, 5 pages long because there are so many things to get done every single day. And again, if we're not careful, all of those details, all of those single tasks will just take over. And because we don't really know how to delegate, really the only one that can do them is me. No one can do it like I can do it. So I'm going to have to be the one to do it because, Clay, I give it to other people, but they just don't do it as well as me. And so I've got to do it. It's my company, or I'm the manager, I'm the manager, and so I can't really delegate because I have this control thing. I just want to make sure that everything is done exactly the way I want it done, okay? That is perfect. I love that. The thing is, you don't have to sacrifice quality to delegate. You just have to know how to delegate correctly. So this is where we're heading today in our designing systems. We are going to delegate, catch this, we are going to delegate systems, not tasks. And I've talked about this several times as I travel across the country doing several different speaking engagements. As a matter of fact, I'm putting together right now with Tom Ziegler of the Ziegler Corporation, which is a real honor to be connected with them. But Tom Ziegler and I are going to be doing a workshop down in Dallas coming up in October where we're going to be talking about this very thing. As a manager, get this. I love this phrase. I love to kind of really, what people are going, what's going on when I say, the thing is I'm trying to get to a place where I never delegate a task anymore. I don't ever want to delegate a task again. I only want to delegate a system. It's not just, hey, will you go do this thing? It's, here is how to do it. Follow the system. Follow the steps. If you follow the steps, you will have done it exactly the way that I would have done it. So this designing system is all about reproducing yourself. It's about getting things done the way you want them to get done on a consistent basis. All right, so let's dive into this thing. I love this. One of the most common complaints that I get from my clients that I'm meeting with every single week is, Clay, I just don't have the time. We talk about putting together systems. Again, you're going to have 1,000 different systems in your company. There's not just one. You're going to have 1,000 different systems of how you're going to do this and how you're going to do that, all the way down to how we're going to clean the bathroom. How are we going to clean up the kitchen area, the kitchenette in the workroom? How are we going to make the coffee? I mean, there are so many different systems you're going to be coming up with. But the problem is that I hear all the time when I'm working with leaders here is that they are trapped here and they continue to say, Clay, I just don't have time. They're working in their business all the time. Clay, I just don't have time. Clay, I just don't have time. Guys, that is the number one complaint that I get. And as a manager, I love this. Remember talking about in session number 3, we talked about time management. As a manager, you have way too much on your plate, here and here. There is way too much on your plate to get trapped and to have this constant complaint and this constant excuse of, I just don't have time. I promise you that there's probably 80% of the activities that you do every day and every week that are recurring. The things that you're doing today, there's probably 80% of those things that you do every single day or every single week. So all of these recurring activities, we need to begin to put into blocks of time and begin to do them at the same time every single week or every single day, and begin to put those things into specific step-by-step processes so that we can delegate. As we start talking about designing systems, the best systems for you to design and the best systems for you to delegate are systems that are recurring. So we're going to be diving into this today. I love here, Harry Truman here, the 33rd President of the United States, says, in reading the lives of great men, I found that the very first victory that they had to win was over themselves. Self-discipline with all of them came first. The idea here is that if you cannot organize yourself, then you are not going to be able to organize your company. It just doesn't work that way. Remember, we talked a little bit in our last session here about your capacity. If your responsibility is greater than your capacity, then it's just going to lead to freak out. You're going to be running around all the time, stressed out and freaking, okay? So we have to increase our capacity. One of the key things that you're going to do to increase your mental and emotional capacity is get better at your time management. Become more of a disciplined person in your time management. My coach, Clay Clark, talks quite a bit about this. I love it. He goes, the price for success is organization. What? But I'm not an organized person. I kind of enjoy just kind of going flying by the cuff and just doing things and kind of playing by the hip and everything like that. It's like, okay, you can do that. It's not that you're wrong. It's not that you're bad for that. But the problem is you're going to be limited. What's going to happen is your responsibilities are going to grow, and because you're that play by the hip and be Mr. Spontaneous or Mrs. Spontaneous, sorry about that, okay, but you're just shooting from the hip all day, you're just going to be limited. And chances are very good that because you're just spontaneous, you have to go to work every day. You have to be present every day because everything's spontaneous, and you're the only one that can be spontaneous. If you go on a vacation, have you found this? If you go on a vacation, when you come back, all of the work has just piled up. Work hasn't continued to get done. It just gets piled up. So when you get back, now you have to plow through 3, 4, 5 days of just catch up before you can really start getting back into the swing again. So again, this is the idea of actually being able to go on vacation and come back, and the work has been getting done while you were away, because we have designed systems for the work. In our last session, again, we learned that the very first thing that we need to organize as a manager is ourselves. Why is this so important? Because as your responsibilities, as I said, as your responsibilities increase, your ability to quickly recognize and solve problems is going to become tested. It's going to be tested more and more as you get more and more on your plate. But if you are the only one, I love this phrase right here, if you are the only one that can solve the problems, then you will limit the growth of your company. If you're the only one that can do it, remember down here, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. That is a wonderful worker mindset. But now that you have graduated and now that you are a manager in your company, now that you are thinking about managing, you have to get out of that mindset of if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. Okay? Because again, at the manager level, if you want it done right, design a system for it. Okay? So here we go. When will you accomplish your responsibilities in your company? There are so many things, Clay, that I'm doing every single day. The question is when. When will you do the activities? When will you work in and when will you work on? I want to encourage you to at least take 1 hour a week that you have blocked out. And I mean, you just use your PhD, your pig-headed discipline, your pig-headed determination to stay focused on that block and let that block only be focused on working on your business and not getting trapped, not getting pulled out of that block and having to work more in your business. When will you do this? If you are the CEO of a small company, again, you very possibly will have work to do and activities to do all up and down this organizational chart. The question is, when will you do the actual work? When will you do the actual touching and spending time with your client or selling the actual product? When will you spend time at managing other people? When are you going to spend time during your week working on your business, designing systems? When are you going to have big picture time to look at the future of your company and begin to organize people as well as all of the production that's going on? You have to have time to do this and block that time out. We talked quite a bit again back in session number 3 about time blocking.